All right, so today we're going to be talking about the big question. Should you buy a Nintendo Switch 2 for Zelda Ocarina of Time if you don't already own one? And we're going to get into it here in a second, but I wanted to take a minute just to say, if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. I've got many more Ocarina of Time videos coming. I'm trying to hit 1,000 subs by the end of the summer, so if you subscribe, that would be awesome. That'd really help me out. Thank you guys if you're enjoying these videos. There's plenty more to come, as always. But yeah, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the topic at hand here, right? And that should you buy a Nintendo Switch 2 if you don't have one, just to play The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time 2026 remake? And right off the top of my head, I'm going to say the answer to that is no, but with some caveats, right? There's only a few scenarios to me in which this actually makes sense. And number one is that you're just a huge Legend of Zelda super fan. Ocarina of Time is your favorite game of all time, and you'll do anything to play the game, right? That makes sense, but in conjunction with, and only if, your finances are up to par, right? If you have that $500-600 laying around your house and you got a hole in your pocket, then by all means, go ahead and buy the system. Who am I to tell you what to do, right? I'm nobody. I'm just a guy on the internet, but I do have a few thoughts on this, right? And that brings me into, is the Nintendo Switch 2 worth it? And from my own anecdotal experience, it's that it's kind of boom or bust, right? I go through periods where I'm hyped up to play a game, and then I put 30, 50 hours into a game, and then it just kind of sits there and collects dust for months on end, right? I think the only game I'm looking forward to playing on the Switch 2 this summer is the Star Fox remake. Another remake, go figure, right? But once that game's done, I don't think there's going to be anything until Ocarina of Time comes out, to be honest. I mean, unless I really get into Fire Emblem, I think that's coming out before Ocarina, I believe. I'll probably pick that one up. So, all right, let's just say Fire Emblem is the next game that I get, right? There's still going to be a period of 2 to 3 months where my Nintendo Switch 2 is just sitting there collecting dust, right? And I'm spending most of my time playing on, PC or PS5, which obviously get a lot more use than my Nintendo Switch 2. Right, and since I bought in the console, that's exactly what it's been. And it's not just me, other people have pointed this out too. There's just not a lot to play on it, right? There's not a lot of huge first-party bangers. So if you do buy a Switch, hopefully you can make the most out of it. I know I certainly didn't. I'm not really that big of a handheld gamer, to be honest. When I do finally have time to play games, right, I like to sit in my office in my nice chair in front of my nice big old curved screen monitor and play that way with the Switch 2 Pro controller in hand. I don't like playing handheld, for one. It's too small for my big hands, and I kind of go numb after a while playing handheld. So that's one aspect to consider. I also think it's kind of silly to buy a console just for one game, especially a remake. Even though it is a remake of, probably in my opinion, the greatest game of all time, I still think that you'd be wary of that. I don't think it makes a lot of sense, right? You could always wait. I don't think there's going to be a price drop, but maybe there will be. I think in my area, the Switch is $500 right now. So honestly, it's up to you in that regards. But you're right. My answer is no, unless you're a Zelda super fan and Ocarina super fan. You think you're going to get good use out of it in the future, then maybe it'd be worth the purchase. I don't know. I just can't see it. And don't get me wrong. I think Ocarina of Time Remake 2026 is going to be amazing. That's why I'm sitting here. Right, I'm on my lunch break again in my truck making these videos about the game, and I'm constantly talking about it and thinking about it and coming up with new ideas for YouTube videos and all that. But on the other hand, it largely depends on your financial situation. If you're just trying to make ends meet and you're barely scraping by, definitely don't go out and buy a Switch 2 and buy a copy of Ocarina of Time. Right, obviously that's a no-brainer. It just doesn't make sense. Right, since I already have one on a kind of impulse bought one day, I think that I'm fine. Of course, you already have one. Definitely pick up a copy of Ocarina of Time Remake. Pick up multiple copies. I think the game is definitely going to be one of the best, right? If not the best Zelda game of all time, in my opinion. That's just me, though. But yeah, I'm curious. See, the problem is, I think a lot of people are going to end up going out and buying a Switch 2 for Ocarina of Time Remake that can't afford it, or it just wouldn't be the best purchase in there, and the money could be used for other things. So that's definitely an issue, because I know a lot of people are really hyped for this game. But yeah, like I said, I like the Switch 2 as a whole. I think it's a good step up, and a much needed step up from the Switch 1. But the problem is the software. The console itself is fine. I mean, there's obviously more powerful options out there on the market, but I think for the price, it's still a pretty decent buy. But the release schedule and the release window it's not up to par in my book, right? Like, there's a lot of third-party stuff coming to the Switch too, and that's fine if you like that stuff. Like, for instance, the latest Resident Evil game, I think that's awesome that it came to the Switch too, and that it was actually pretty good. But for my money, I'm better off just playing that game on the PS5 or the PC and getting the best graphical fidelity I can possibly get. And for me, I mean, it also depends on what type of gamer you are. Like I said, if you play a lot of handheld, it might even make more sense for you to purchase the Switch 2 and you don't have any other consoles, because like I said, it does get a lot of good third-party support, which is awesome. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, I think purchasing any console just for one game in general just isn't the best idea. However, I totally understand if you do buy the console just for Ocarina of Time, because yeah, I'm just that excited for the game, so I really can't hate on anybody if that's what you decide to do. It would be against my advice, but yeah, to each their own. I know a lot of people hate Nintendo recently just because of their kind of anti-consumer decisions and policies and business decisions, and I totally agree with that, especially when it comes to emulation and just how quick they are to pull down these brilliant fan projects that people are making, where they're making absolutely no money off the project, right? All they're gaining is a little bit of notoriety, but they'll be quick to just rip those down and just sue anybody they want that steps on their toes. So I get the anti-Nintendo sentiment, and I'm kind of in that boat as well. They're not my, the company themselves, right? There's a lot of issues. But the games they make are pure magic, and a lot of them are masterpieces and some of the best games of all time, to be quite honest. So there's that. But yeah, I'm curious to know, are you guys gonna be picking up a Switch 2 just for Ocarina of Time 2026 Remake, or do you already have a Switch 2? That's the question. Or are you just gonna pass on it altogether? Definitely let me know in the comment section below. I'm curious to know what your guys' take on this is. You obviously know mine, but again, it's just my opinion. Once again, if you haven't subscribed already, please do. And you enjoy these videos, I'm definitely trying to hit 1,000 by the end of the summer. That's my goal. It's always been a dream of mine. So again, thanks for all the support and the comments you guys have been sharing on my channel. So I love to see it. Anyways, until the next video, bye.